I think there is a mighty chance that we see Luigi's Mansion 4 debuted sometime this year. Now, I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to release this year, but I think there's a good chance that we are going to see the game regardless of if it's coming or not this year. I like to spend the beginning of the year watching my fellow content creators' videos predicting what they think Nintendo's going to do, and almost 90% of them literally said Luigi's Mansion 4 was going to be one of the big games this year, and it's something that I've been saying as well. But yeah, it just seems like the whole community is just kind of expecting this, and it just sounds the most likely. But I'm here to talk about why it's so likely, and what does that mean for potentially 3D Mario as well? Well, I think he has a place in all this, so yes, I had to bring him up again. I'm telling you, I'm bringing him up in every video of 2026. So there is a lot that I want to talk about with this game and the potential of it releasing this year, but first I want to thank Koops for sending over their Switch 2 protective case set. This case set completely protects your Nintendo Switch 2. In case you're taking it on the go or you're taking it out with you, there's a good chance you're gonna drop this thing, and for a $450 console, you don't want to ruin it. Now what makes this case awesome is it's not just one giant connected case. Your Switch 2 Joy-Con have their own separate casings, so you don't have to worry about not being able to detach your Joy-Con, and you don't have to worry about scratching those either. Not to mention, these also function as new grips, which gives you a nice little padded groove in the back for your hand. And you also don't have to worry about it covering up any of the important buttons. On the backside, you have a new and improved reinforced metal kickstand, and it's actually really good quality. You're not going to have to worry about this thing breaking off or even bending. Of course, you don't have to worry about any of your ports being covered up with this new case on it. The case's bezel also wraps around the outsides of the screen from top to bottom, meaning complete screen protection if you do get careless and drop your new console. The protective faceplate also comes with little grooves that you can store your Switch or Switch 2 games in, and you don't even have to worry about pulling this thing out of the case in order to place it in the dock. It's a bit of a tighter fit, but it definitely still works. If you're looking to get your hands on a Koops Switch 2 protection case, all you gotta do is click on the link in the description down below. And huge thanks to Koops for sponsoring today's video. So why are we all expecting Luigi's Mansion 4 in the year of 2026? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and boy do I have a list. First off, it'll be 7 years this October since Luigi's Mansion 3, which is a very long time for any mainline game, right? But the main difference between Luigi's Mansion and the 3D Mario series is really there's no games that offset Luigi's Mansion 4 from happening. For instance, Mario Odyssey obviously came out in 2017, but since then we've had other games that kind of keep us at peace a little bit until this next 3D Mario. We had Bowser's Fury at the beginning of 2021, and we had DK Bonanza in the summer of 2025, a game that was made by the Odyssey team. And that's not to mention other games that came out for 3D Mario as we wait. For instance, they gave us 3D World that came with Bowser's Fury. Not to mention, we also got a Mario 3D collection in 2020 with 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, and we also got Galaxy 1 re-released again with Galaxy 2 in a collection pack last year as well. So there's been a lot of 3D Mario to have, but still, I need him. Excuse me, I need to put myself in timeout. I'm talking about Mario too much. Would you stop talking about that? But yeah, Luigi's Mansion doesn't really have something that could have offset everything and prevented this next game from happening anytime soon. I mean, the closest thing we have is Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon, which re-released as Luigi's Mansion 2 HD as of June of 2024. Now that's still almost 3 years ago, more like 2.5, but even with that said, that game could not have taken that much to make. It was remastered by Tinteless Media, which has also remastered past games like Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess, and also if you took a second to look at Luigi's Mansion 2, it still looks like a 3DS game. I highly doubt much work went into this game. I'd be willing to bet that this was Nintendo's plan all along to release specific games in a specific order. For instance, Luigi's Mansion 2 came out in the summer of 2024, and then we know last year, around October, they re-released Luigi's Mansion 1 thanks to the GameCube NSO, right around Halloween time, giving us yet again another year of Luigi's Mansion something as we wait for this next game. So having 2 years in a row of Luigi's Mansion content, it just feels like this is the year, unless God no! Now Luigi's Mansion 3 does in fact run at 30 frames per second, and it could use maybe a slight quality boost. It already looks like one of the best games Nintendo's ever made, so maybe looking a little bit better would be even crazier, but still, I don't want this to happen, man. I'm so sick of these editions. Normally these are just silent killers for the next game, so if we do get some type of Luigi's Mansion 3 Switch 2 edition announced, it's going to come with some stupid extra content that no one really cares about probably, unless it's some extra story stuff, then that could be interesting, but I have a hunch that if this this does happen, we're not going to see Luigi's Mansion 4 probably for another year or two, which is just going to be, please Nintendo, don't do this. Now, if we go back to at least 2013 and look at the history of Next Level Games and how fast they get games out, we can pretty much kind of predict when this next game will be out if they continue that pattern. Next Level Games obviously did Dark Moon back in 2013. 3 years later, they did Metroid Prime Federation Force in 2016. 3 years later, they did Luigi's Mansion 3 in 2019, and then 3 years after that, they did Mario Strikers Battle League, and that was in 2022. So for the most part, they've had pretty much 3-year development cycles, and Mario Strikers Battle League, that was just poop from a butt. No, like seriously, I couldn't imagine that game taking that much development time from Next Level Games. I mean, there hardly was any game there. There was like a couple of fields with a couple of characters. I mean, they added some stuff later on, but it was like a couple of things. Like, there's no way this game took up that much time. So I'd assume that Nintendo had them prioritize Luigi's Mansion 4, especially when you look at the sales for 3. Now, Next Level Games did help a little bit with Metroid Prime 4, but most of it was from Retro Studios. So they've had a lot of time to work on this next game, and it's going to be 4 years since Battle League in June. So let's face it, it's time for the next game. Now, I was just bringing up sales, and I really want to talk about this one more time because I brought this up so many times in my past videos, but Luigi's Mansion 3 really did just sell so well. It's so awesome. 14.25 million for a franchise that's literally just on its 3rd installment is pretty crazy. And you gotta remember, this is on a list of the best-selling Switch 1 games, which Switch 1 games were selling like hotcakes. I mean, look at all of these games that sold over 10 million. I mean, it's insane. Luigi's Mansion 3 is up there in the running with the big Marios, Zeldas, and even Pokemon. Like, it's crazy. There is no way Nintendo's not gonna capitalize on the huge success that Luigi's Mansion 3 had and have Luigi's Mansion 4 ready to go relatively soon. At least I would think so, because apparently you would think they would do it with other people. Or brothers. But yeah, we talked about Mario enough. Let's bring them into the equation, because I feel like this is where it gets difficult, because Nintendo is kind of struggling with the Switch 2 right now, going through their recent holiday season. Lots of the investors are saying there's not a major Western IP that are getting people excited, and even Nintendo themselves has admitted to this. But it seems like not just fans, but people in the industry are also desperately looking for Nintendo to announce their next big first-party game. So my mind would be blown if this next Nintendo Direct doesn't end on a huge upcoming first-party game for Nintendo to get everybody excited. And I do think Luigi's Mansion 4 could still be that. Is it Mario? No. Is it Zelda? No. Is it even Smash Brothers or Animal Crossing? No, not necessarily, but I still think Luigi's Mansion 4 is going to be massive. I mean, once again, look at those sales. So it's kind of just up to what Nintendo's going to do here, because I feel like it's going to be one or the other. I don't think we're going to see a year where both Luigi's Mansion 4 and the next 3D Mario is going to take place in the same time frame. It could, but I feel like Nintendo is definitely trying to space out some of their massive IPs now, which does make sense. I mean, you want this console to go on for the next 6 to 7 years, so you want to spread these things out accordingly, like your next 3D Mario, your Mario Makers, your Splatoons, your Luigi's Mansion 4s, you know what I mean? So it seems like it really is just going to come down to if Nintendo is going to pull the plug finally on this 3D Mario for this year. And if they are not, I think there's a really good chance that Luigi's Mansion 4 is just going to fill that void. But also it kind of pains me to think about, because I'm still on the wave that Nintendo is going to continue to release Luigi's Mansion games around Halloween in October of every year, which means we're going to have to wait until like October of 2027 for the next Luigi's Mansion game, which is just a crazy development cycle to even think about. 8 years for the next Luigi's Mansion. I mean, it seems like every game franchise now from Nintendo is going to be 7 to 8 years or even more, which is just crazy. But either way, I think there's a really good chance that Luigi's Mansion 4 is going to hit this year. If not hitting this year, it's going to be announced this year, I think. And as far as what the game's going to be, I'm not even going to dive into that. I've made billions of videos talking about what the location could be. It could be a haunted cruise ship or a train or a museum, like Night at the Museum, or it could be just one giant mansion again, multiple mansions like the second game. There's so many different locations and places that they could take this series. It's still a fresh and early franchise, so I'm really excited to see what they have in store for us next. But let me know if you're excited for the next Luigi's Mansion down below, and if you think this is the year for Luigi's Mansion 4, or do you think we're going to be waiting a while still? Let me know down below. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See ya, guys.